What truly makes a boxer invincible? Is it raw punching power, speed, or something else? Why are there fighters who seemingly shrug off even the hardest hits with ease? And why do even elite opponents despair over a seemingly simple movement? The guard. A strong guard is more than just protection. It's control, composure, and psychological superiority. This is where our list begins. And at the top is a man whose guard was like an impregnable fortress, Arthur Abraham. Top 1. Arthur Abraham. Arthur Abraham's entire career was built around one of the most solid high guards boxing has ever seen. His defense seemed like a closed fortress. He kept himself compact, held his gloves tightly to his forehead and temples, and let opponents' punches bounce off his forearms and gloves. Many boxers desperately tried to find openings, but Abraham's guard denied them exactly that. Clear shots. Even hard combinations lost their effectiveness because they never landed cleanly. What made his guard so special wasn't just the technique, but his composure. Abraham rarely panicked, remained patient, and waited for the right moment. He often let opponents work, absorbed attacks in a controlled manner, and then suddenly exploded out of his guard. Critics accused him of passivity, but it was precisely this patience that made his guard so hard to crack. He sacrificed space, but never stability. His defensive discipline forced opponents to take risks, and that's precisely where he struck. How many fighters could afford to stay under fire for so long without losing control? In the end, Abraham shows. A perfect guard doesn't win through spectacle, but through consistency. If you like this analysis, subscribe to the channel and give the video a like so you don't miss any more boxing legends. Top 2. Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin's guard was unspectacular at first glance, but that was precisely its enormous effectiveness. His defense was compact, calm, and perfectly tailored for pressure fighting. As he constantly marched forward, he kept his hands close to his head, his chin tucked, and his upper body slightly crouched. Punches bounced off his gloves or were parried with minimal movements. Golovkin didn't block spectacularly, but efficiently. What made his guard so dangerous was the perfect combination of defense and distance control. He never overreacted, wasted no energy, and rarely opened up space. Instead, he absorbed blows without losing his balance, and remained ready to attack at all times. Opponents felt like they were hitting him, but in reality, most punches landed on his arms and shoulders. His composure under pressure created psychological stress. Those who couldn't stop him started making mistakes. Golovkin proved that a strong guard doesn't have to be rigid. It adapts, moves subtly, and always remains responsible. How many fighters could consistently exert pressure and simultaneously maintain such clean defense? His guard wasn't a shield, but a tool to control fights. If you like this assessment, support the channel with a like and subscribe for more analyses. Top 3. James Toney. James Toney wasn't a classic high guard defender, but his guard was one of the most intelligent ever seen in the ring. His defense was based on the shoulder roll, combined with extremely fine timing and absolute serenity. Instead of closing up completely, Toney consciously let punches come, rolled them off with his shoulder and upper body, and absorbed the rest with his forearms and gloves. His guard was flexible, almost playful, but never careless. What made Toney so hard to hit was his composure under fire. He didn't panic, even when combinations rained down on him. Small movements were enough to diffuse punches without losing his balance. He always remained in punching range and ready to counter. Many opponents thought they had him in trouble, but that's exactly where Toney felt most comfortable. His guard wasn't a defense mechanism born of fear, but an expression of self-confidence. This mix of technique, instinct, and coolness made his defense unique. How can a boxer remain so relaxed while punches come from all angles? James Toney showed that a great guard doesn't always have to be visible to be effective. If you like this analysis, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more boxing history. Top 4. Joshua Clottey. Joshua Clottey possessed one of the most frustrating guards of his era. His defense was extremely compact, almost airtight. He held his gloves tightly to his head, his elbows close to his body, and crouched slightly forward, leaving hardly any vulnerable areas exposed. For many opponents, it felt like their punches disappeared into nothingness. Even clean combinations rarely landed clearly, instead hitting forearms, gloves, or sliding off ineffectively. What made Clottey's guard so effective was its stability. He remained firmly rooted, rarely lost his balance, and didn't let himself be rattled. Opponents tried to go for the body, but even there, his guard was disciplined and closed. This defensive consistency robbed opponents of patience and rhythm. Many boxers seemed increasingly bewildered because they were active but inflicted no visible damage. Clottey showed that a strong guard doesn't have to be spectacular to appear dominant. It thrives on discipline, repetition, and mental strength. How long can an opponent fight if almost every punch is neutralized? Clottey posed this question to his opponents again and again. If you like this analysis, support the channel with a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more boxing legends. Top 5. Julio Cesar Chavez. Julio Cesar Chavez used one of the most disciplined high guards in boxing history. His defense was tight, calm, and perfectly suited for fighting in close range. He consistently blocked punches with his forearms and gloves while moving his head slightly off the center line. Nothing seemed rushed. Even hard hits he absorbed in a controlled manner, without losing his balance or opening up the structure of his defense. What made Chavez's guard so special was its efficiency over long periods. He could absorb pressure without reacting emotionally, and remained capable of action at all times. He often deliberately kept his hands low enough to protect his body while intercepting punches to the head. In close range, he parried attacks with minimal movements, which frustrated opponents and made them feel ineffective. His enormous resilience further amplified this effect. Chavez proved that a strong guard not only protects but also dictates the pace of a fight. How do you defeat a boxer who accepts punches without giving them importance? Many of his opponents failed precisely at this. If you like this analysis, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth boxing stories. Top 6. Ken Norton. Ken Norton was one of the most famous proponents of the cross-arm guard, a defensive technique that posed big problems for many opponents. With his arms crossed in front of his upper body, he blocked and smothered attacks before they could take effect. This guard allowed him to redirect punches, intercept them, and disrupt the opponent's rhythm. Especially against fighters who focused heavily on headshots, this defense proved extremely effective. What made Norton's guard so special was its functionality in close distances. When he remained calm and focused, he closed himself up compactly, allowing hardly any clear hits. His arms were constantly working, adapting, and reacting to every opponent's movement. While Norton could sometimes seem wild, in his best moments, his defense was controlled and intelligently used. Opponents often punched at a seemingly open area, only to find that the hit was absorbed or deflected. Norton showed that an unconventional guard can be just as effective as classic defenses. How do you prepare for a defense that you can hardly train for? This uncertainty made him so hard to beat. If you like this analysis, subscribe to the channel and give the video a like for more legendary boxing stories. Top 7. Marlon Starling. Marlon Starling was known for an almost airtight high guard that made it extremely difficult for opponents to land clean combinations. His defense was compact, dynamic, and constantly in motion. With elbows tucked in tightly and gloves held high, he closed off the spaces that many boxers instinctively seek. Even if attacks got through, They were usually neutralized on his arms and gloves before they could take effect. What made Starling's guard so effective was its adaptability. He didn't remain static, but moved sideways, parried punches, and changed the angle of his guard at the right moment. This allowed him to defuse entire series of punches without losing his balance. Opponents often increased the tempo, but that played right into Starling's hands. The more they punched, the more they ran into his closed defense. His calmness and control ensured that frustration grew on the other side. Starling showed the importance of precision and timing in defense. How do you break through a guard that constantly adapts and offers hardly any attacking surface? This question remained unanswered for many. If you liked this analysis, support the channel with a like and subscribe so you don't miss any more boxing legends. These 7 boxers impressively show that a strong guard is more than pure defense. It's patience, mental strength, and control over the fight. Some defenses act like walls, others like movable traps, but all have one thing in common. They break the opponent's will. Which of these guards impressed you the most? And is there a boxer you definitely expected to see here? If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and stay tuned for more in-depth boxing analyses.